How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my little studio here. We're going to continue working on our Sanguine Priest here from the Blood Angels. Where I left off yesterday was I did some more of the robe, cloak, whatever you want to call it here. A little bit of orange highlighting and such. Got that part. Added a little bit on the back. Obviously, you can tell I need to add a little bit more, strengthen up those lines a little bit, just make them a little bit more even, which we'll be doing here shortly as well. But first, where I'm going to dig into today is start getting some of these vials and blood pouches that are around his waist here. Just to, bring out a little bit more color and, start bringing this model a little bit more to life here. So, first thing I want to do is find the correct brush that I want to use for this, which is going to be my handy dandy trusty 00. I'm going to start getting these vials and everything. I'm going to use black first, I believe. Just that way I can start accenting with stuff that's actually in them. So we're going to start right here on this big pouch here. Now I'm not really sure if this is a vial or like a big glass sack full of, maybe some gene seed or something along those lines. But we're going to end up making it look like almost like maybe a bloody bag. Not sure yet. Now we get the fun part of trying to get in between the arms here. A little bit like that right there. Trying to stay away from my red because I don't want to ruin my red. But I don't want that white to show through either. Hey Chuck, you having a good night, man? So I think your buddy Dustin's plotting against you. Do tell. Well, let's just say that he grew his Death Guard collection a little bit. And I no longer own any Death Guard. No, don't tempt him. He might. The drawstrings on that, I'm pretty sure that is probably like some type of like a water sack or, something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But since it's going to be like that, I'm going to make this vial, I think, green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a little bit darker green. I'm actually think I'm going to use some Warpstone Glow for this. It's kind of the mid-tone green, but it's going to be on that black, so it's going to come out darker anyways. Possible. It's hard to tell though, because I know that chalice is actually supposed to be filled with blood, so it could be like a water sack that's full with blood instead. Alright, so we're just going to start hitting the bottom of this glass vial here. Now I'm not too really worried about the edges at the moment, so I'm probably going to get green on them, because I have to come back over that anyways with like some metal, because I know it's surrounded with a metal bottom and a metal top. Right now I'm just trying to get it to look like maybe it's like half full of some type of either medicine or disinfectant. Maybe it's a sample. You know what? That's probably why we get along so well. That's how I am. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to take it to 11. Alright, going to add another coat here just to help strengthen it up a little bit. Maybe a little bit of a curve just to, you know, have the liquid sloshing around. And then I'm going to do one of these other on the other side green as well. Make it look like maybe it's mixing. Probably this back one just so it's a little bit separated. Now, I like this color Warpstone green, but it is a pretty thin paint compared to a lot of Citadel paints, so a lot of times it'll take a couple coats to get where I want it to be. Okay, and I'm actually going to switch over to an Army Painter paint Glistening Blood. It's like a dark blood color with a little bit of gloss in it. Load up my brush here quick. So I do want a little bit of differentiate, if I could talk today. A little bit of difference in my reds here. Just because there's so much red going on, but I mean, there's a Blood Angel, so we have to have some type of blood going on in these vials. I think it'd only be right. Come in here and check real quick. Alright, so now that we got that on there, yeah, we're going to do this. I'm going to use that Skarsnik. We got some weird names for these paints. Green, which is still a little bit of a lighter green. It's almost like a sickly green, almost. Be a good highlight for, like, you know, orcs or something like that. And now what I'm going to do is create basically a upper area to this vial here. If it wants to behave. Come down just a little bit onto that green that I already had, because I want to make room for my white line just to show that there's actually some type of, you know, breakage between that and the black. So here, do I still have good white on my palette, or did it dry out on me? No, should be good. Alright, let's see if we can get this line in here. Maybe a couple little dots for a little bit of a shine off of it. Alright, I'm going to grab my lead belcher here, and then that way we can do the up and the bottom parts of the vials here. It'll help it stand out a little bit more so you can see what's going on. Alright, there's the bottom of that one. Grab the top here quick. There we go. Let's see if we can grab this one here on the side. You know, that is my only regret for building out this stream rig. I have lost a lot of real estate on my desk. It's like everywhere I look. Oh, hey, look, here's a cable. Okay, we're just going to add that line in there. Then we're going to come right over top of that lighter green with some pure white scar, just to give it that, you know, foamy, frothy top layer on liquids. And of course it wants to be a jerk. Let's see if I can get some of that back off. Alright, so I'm going to have to reshape that a little bit. Got a little bit more on it than I wanted to. It's fine. Let's just come back over here with a little bit of black. Aim for the top half. Well, we can tone it right back down. There we go. Another thing I like to do with vials is just because of the light gleams. I don't know if I'll be able to hit this one just right, but I'll try. It's a little bit of a line going up and down, just because, you know, with like glass and stuff like that, when you got a curved like tube surface, you have that, you know, top line where the liquid is, but then you also have that, you know, sheen from like the sun or your light source that runs down the side of it. Alright, I'll grab the top here quick. Alright, well basically we're going to do the same thing with this one full of blood here. So I'm going to actually grab some red that I already have on my palette, some Evil Sunz Scarlet, and then I'm just going to add a line right across the top of where I left that glistening blood, just to help bring it up a little bit. And then add another little white line. Alright. Now, what to do with this hose? I mean, we can go with black. Let's see, I think I got a reference here yet. Okay, so they went with just like a regular tube. So alright, let's give this a whirl here. See if I can make it look like the green chemical is supposed to be flowing over to the red. So we're going to throw some warp stone on here quick. Do not like that white spot in there, so I'm going to grab some Evil Sunz. Ruin everything, you know, just dab a little bit in there. Yep. That's how watery my paint is. It just floods right in there. Empty my brush, pull a bunch of it back out. Okay, and I'll just go back and touch my warp stone up here real quick. And give that a second to dry because it was so watery. Alright, so back to this water sac slash blood sac. So what can we do with this guy? Basically looks like they went with the blood glass route in the traditional art, and that's what they wanted, so we will go that route. Alright, so I'm going to grab some more glistening blood here. Start coating the bottom here, because that's where our pooled blood's going to be. Arc it just a little bit because I want to make it look like it's got a little bit of movement in there. Okay, while that's drying here quick, I grab these little tiny blood flasks here. Actually, before I do that, because I want to make them look like they're actually glass, I forgot a step. Let's hit these with some black here quick. Alright, now we're going to still treat this just like the other ones. So now I'm going to come in here across this line I just made with some Evil Sunz Scarlet. Just because I'm a glut for punishment, I'm going to get it here in the back as well. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not because it's kind of glossy here. Let me move it here. Now you see like where my paint's separated, and now I got that dark line right in between there. That's always fun when that happens. See if I can get rid of that quick. Now it's a little bit brighter than I wanted to, so what I'm gonna do here is take some water and water down my glistening blood so that way it's really thin. I'm gonna come back under on this bottom part of this line I just made. And that actually will help. What they'll do is help blend the colors together because it's still gonna be somewhat translucent. So that way some of that vibrant red will still show through, but it's going to be darker than the next part, so it's going to kind of give that nice little fade step. We're going to add our top of our liquid line here. So I need to get back there just a little bit more. Alright. So what do we got going on for the top of that? Alright, looks like I need to touch up some of the black there on the top of it. And since it's got that wrap on it, I think I'm going to use what we used yesterday, which I think, what was that? Xandra dust, I believe it was. Which looks like it was stolen from my desk. Nope, here it is. I got like 40 bottles of paint sitting here. So Chuck, you said Iron Hands next month? Is that your plan? Very nice. Those should be fun. Actually, what I'm going to do here, grab a little bit more Evil Suns. Add a couple little flavor dots here. Oh, no, that's what I was going to do. Forgot the other side, these blood drops. Alright. Here would we be at so far? So a little bit of glistening blood right here. So I'm using for this blood color. At least the base of it. Feather in a little of that Evil Suns again. Add our white back. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit of a light spot right here at the bottom. Just because that's how light, like what likes to do out of this stuff. All right. So we got a chain between his legs here with another blood drop. Let's see if we can get in there and get that. Grab some Retributor armor here. Good old GW Golds. I'm going to carefully reach in here and start getting this chain. Give that a second dry, and then we'll go in there with some Reikland Flesh Shade. Just give it a little bit more definition, and then we can start working on that blood drop in there too. So in the meantime, I can sit here and just throw some paint down on the back here, since we haven't really done too much to this backpack yet. Basically, it's still just base coated. And that white ink we were talking about the other day. Hey man, thanks for the follow. I actually don't have my headphones on, so if I miss it, my apologies. I do appreciate it though. Ooh. Woof. That sounds rough. Okay, we got good little vents knocked out. Basically. Appreciate it. Hey, if I can make you relax, have fun doing it, I'm all for it. Alright, let's see what I got here. What do I got? What do I got? What do I got? Looks like my piston's dried out, so let me get that back in my pallet. $10 for a Dreadnought? That is cheap. Kind of curious on what kind of state it's in, though. If you say it's as bad as it is. Just going through here and getting these apothecary emblems knocked out. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's always nice to hear. See, my secret is I'm trapped in my basement 24/7. They don't let me out unless I paint. I have to do 15 models in 3 hours if I want privilege on the bucket. 20 models if I want a brush of fresh air. And what I mean by fresh air is they just literally show me a picture of the outside world. Alright. Getting our groundwork laid here. Yeah. I don't know how accurate it is. I believe it said it was from 1976. I'm not sure. I'll start throwing a little bit of lead belcher here in these vents. Start getting that metallic look going. Yeah. Well, that explains why there's so many happy trees. Yeah, right? Alright, I'm going to work my way down to these blood drops here in the back. Grab some more of that retributor here. I'm going to get these top metal parts here. Alright. We're going to go right back to our glistening blood. Start filling up these vials here with some blood. Let's see here. You are slanted like this. So let's get this flat so that way I can get the... No. It's going to be at an angle about like this. So I'm going to take a line about right here. Use that as my guide point because... Yeah. Because he's tilted, so these, if it was liquid, it's not going to be straight across this surface. Let's see here. Something like that. Awesome. Working way up to half sandwich. Alright, we're gonna get some Evil Sun's work back in here quick. Trying to maintain that line. Uh-oh. Cat found me. Hopefully that's not what they sent me for dinner in my poor life here. No, kitty. This is not the time to get on my lap. Okay, I'm gonna fade in that Mephiston just a little, or not Mephiston, Evil Sun a little bit with this glistening blood, just to help with the transition. And we're gonna jump right back to our pure white, some white scar here. I'm gonna add a line across the top of the blood. Yeah, that's the foreman. Right, we're just doing a little bit of shaping here. Of course, you got to follow it all the way around because you don't want to, not have a spot that's not covered, because then, I mean, you're eventually going to see it. And you'll be like, what is that? Why didn't they do all of it? This line's a little fatter than I want, so we're going to give it a little trim. All right. Let's see here. Green and reds. Green and reds. Of course it's green and reds. Why wouldn't it be greens and reds? Alright. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start jumping on these liquid tanks right here. But first, I need to use the bathroom. So give me about a couple minutes here, and I'll be right back. So be right back. Yep, that's because I hit the wrong button. Thank you, buddy. Started playing my music instead, didn't I? Yeah, I forgot that was on. A lot of times I'll have a headset on, just so it's nice to have some tunes in the background while I'm doing this. I used to actually have it so you could hear it, but Facebook and Twitch and all that like to take it down, even though it's music that's free for streamers from Twitch, but it still gets flagged. Riddle me that one, Batman. So, alright. So we got the first part of the blood down here. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to keep you on your toes. No, it doesn't make sense. I'm still trying to figure that out because I see a bunch of streamers that have that in the back, and they're just fine. But mine gets flagged, and then what it does is it mutes my video, so then you can't hear the music and you can't hear me talking. So I'm sitting here trying to explain something, you hear nothing. So grab a little bit of this white because I see a red spot down there that's bothering me. No, it's still wet down there. I just made it 10 times worse. Alright, Chuck. Yeah, I know. It's either I'm doing something wrong, or I have no idea. I'll have to look more into it. Because I actually like having the backing track. That way it's just, not me talking all the time. Not that I don't like talking, but I'm still getting used to, running my jaw off constantly. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because it says, it the advertising for it, at least from Twitch, because it's a Twitch app for music, is for streamers, for free. Like, you don't have to pay for it or anything like that. It's just all music presented by artists that don't want any royalties or anything from it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then I start playing it. I mean, I expect Facebook to do it because Facebook flags everything. But it didn't really make a lot of sense when, Twitch itself is flagging it when it's from Twitch. A little red in here. Little happy tree there. I'm gonna have to screw with you guys one day and just start painting happy trees. Alright, let's get these brackets here. Give that just a second. And then I'm going to treat it basically the same way. I'm going to darken the edges here and bring it back up to that brighter color here at the top of the cylinder, and then fade it back down the other side. I think that's going to be my game plan here. Alright. So I'm going to go for my shade here if I can grab it without knocking everything over. Some Carroburg Crimson. That's basically going to darken it back up a little bit. I'm just using the shade here, feathering around the sides, and a little bit of darkening. Flip back over to my Evil Sons. Maybe, just maybe, depending how good this paint still left. Let's see if I can add just a hint of orange in here for some light effect. Yeah, give it really that, you know, ancient look. Little bit more orange here. I'm just putting it on super thin. Just really want it at the top of the cylinder here. While I'm at it, I gotta fix some of these lines. They're bothering me, I can see it. Hey, Pestilence. What's up, man? Sure does, doesn't it? So you got that really nice contrast of colors, and it's just like, blow, in your face. Yeah, just chilling out, having a good time. Alright, we need to work on this green as well while I'm at it. So this next canister here, it's got a green liquid in it, so I'm trying to thin down my warp glow here a little bit so that way it's a little bit nicer for me to use. Yeah, I saw that. Awesome. I'm actually looking forward to it. You said what I forgot which one it was, but you're gonna basically sending them one faction at a time, if I remember right. You know we're gonna have to do at least a couple on here. All right. And did you say you were sending the book with them too, so that way I had the reference of what each faction color was? Yeah, it is a sanguinary priest, basically, which is basically a blood angel apothecary. They have like a dual role. Right, now I'm just building up this color here. So I mean that white wants to shine through everything because most paint's pretty translucent. Yeah. Get the apothecary roll. There's nothing like... Everybody needs a healer, dude. Everybody needs a healer. So how does that work out? You said Space Hulk. So your apothecary, do they usually like what, play the Terminators? Or do you guys mix it up with a bunch of different things? I never actually get to play Space Hulk, so like I've always seen it played with like basically Deathwing, Dark Angel Terminators. Yeah. Alright, do I have... I do. I'm gonna grab my green shades. Some Beltane green. So how does that work? Like, okay, so you're the apothecary to these big old termies who take a beating. But then again, I mean, it is... We all know, in lore-wise, that Space Marines are like, you know, these awesome angels of death and everything like that. But at the same time, how epic they are, everything in the 40k universe is crazy strong. It's like, that's why you never really compare 40k stuff to anything else, like lore-wise, because it's just the amount of epicness It's just really hard to compare to anything else. Like you want to like try to compare like 40K ships, like their cruisers to, I don't know, Star Trek. I don't think Star Trek's gonna last very long. All right, so I'm gonna start feathering in some of this lighter green. Like yeah, and the size, like the size of the ships, because they're huge. But then I mean, like got all those macro cannons and stuff like that. Because I mean, they're like basically designed of like Gothic battleships. With giant cannons on the sides of them, like rows upon rows. Alright, let's start fading in these greens together a little bit here. Just make it a little bit nicer of a transition. And of course, I gotta go clean up my silver because I got green everywhere. Take a dab of this white, mix it with my light green just so I can get a little bit brighter. And again, nothing too crazy. Just starting to bring it out a little bit. This is more just out of curiosity. I'm gonna drop a couple specks here and there. Alright. Alright, moving along here. Start getting some of this. We're gonna call them buttons up here at the top. A little too much on my brush. Yep. This will probably take me 2 quick coats because metal works better on black than it does white. Yeah.
Do you know what glue was used on these guys?
What do you mean blue?
On the Tempest Scion?
I understand which models you're working on. What do you mean by blue?
What?
Like what part of the model?
The main color.
They're actually not blue. I used an army painter. I think it might have been a blue for the base color, but I then used a shade on top of that. The highlights I used were actually Space Wolf
I
colors.
just need the color. Help me later.
Okay. I don't remember. It was a while ago since I painted those. Alright, so we got our backpack coming along here. So, probably need to get the top parts of that backpack. So, what color lens do we want to use? The GW artwork has it like red, but we got so much red on this model already. I think I'm just going to go as like a spotlight. So I think I'm going to actually just use like a yellow. Alright. Let's try some Uriel yellow for that. Might still be a little too thin. Yellows don't like to play well with whites. They get really washed out. We'll see here in a second what it looks like. I'm not too too worried about the metal framing because I'll have to come back and paint all that anyways. I could have probably went with a green. Yeah, too late. I already started with yellow. Can't keep second guessing yourself. Now, I'll probably take 2 coats of that. As you can see, it kept a lot of its vibrancy just because it's on a white background. I will have to shade it though, so we'll lose a little bit of that, so I'll have to rebuild it back up. But with the yellow, you want to basically give it enough time to dry, because if you don't, you're going to pull it right back up. And then you get a really chalky finish, and you don't want that. But while that's doing that, we will paint the rest of this black. Just because he did ask for basically box art. And it's black on the box art.
Wait on.
Stop right about there, because of course I'll have to go back over the framework one, but I want to get that yellow ready first. Get the back here, because I'm going to make that metal in the back, so it'll be a better shine on the black instead of the white. And this housing is all black too. Kendall?
Yeah.
My mic's picking that up.
Sorry.
Oh no. I got some black in my yellow. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. Nope, it's already dried. So I'll have to fix that. Alright. So these cables here. We still got to do that inside of that blood cup, but that I will be doing probably last. So I'm going to actually give like some swirl effects and stuff like that, so that way it looks like it's actually moving around in there. Missed a couple spots with my black before I get too crazy with the other colors. And take an extra coat to cover up that white because it likes to shine right through everything. And I'm not one for having paint that is not completely covering. I don't like to be able to see other base coats below my base coats. I think that just looks, I wouldn't say I'm professional, but you guys get my drift. Alright, so to fix this light, I put some Everland Sunset on my palette here, so that way I can bring that up, because I can't use Uriel right on top of black. It would take me like 30 coats to get rid of that black. Alright, I'm going to jump back to the Uriel yellow here just to help strengthen this yellow a little bit. Alright, we'll just give that a second to sit. We're coming along. It looks like probably, because I mean, we only got like 20 minutes left today. So we'll have to do his head tomorrow. So we'll try getting him wrapped up tomorrow. That way we can move on to... What can we move on to tomorrow? What was next? I should probably do this ogre. Thank you, Chuck. So, once I get this guy finished, I'm actually going to jump to Warhammer Fantasy, Age of Sigmar. And we got this ogre here that we're going to do. Now, our client wants us to basically almost turn it, we'll call it a Nurgle ogre. So I need to add a bunch of like pus marks and boils and stuff like that to him. So it should be a good time. So I'll add some rust effects across this blade. Basically look like a fantasy ogre that was taken over by Nurgle.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I got to fix this crack in the back. This is an old model. Okay? GW liked to do this back in the day to us. There's that huge gap that's going to drive me absolutely nuts. So I'm going to have to get in there with some green stuff or some, putty filler or something like that. Fill it out and then sculpt it out so that way you can't tell it's there, because that just drives me nuts. That's true. It does. So I think we'll be doing him next, because that'll tie in with the bunch of cameras. That'll tie in with this blood cauldron right here that we're still working on. So we got the blood effects and stuff, everything in there. The crystal statue. I still got a bunch of stuff I got to do to this wood, but that'll be for Saturday's task. As long as with the top of the guy that stands on top of it. Let me back up here a little bit just so you can actually see him fully, not hitting everything. It's about as high as I'm going to be able to go at the moment. But this is where I left off with him 2 weeks ago, before I had the unfortunate journey to the dentist and I was out of commission for a week. So I'm running about a week behind on stuff. So we'll probably be back on him on Saturday. And I'm sure we'll throw in some more Eldar and stuff in there too. Because I got a whole Eldar army, at least 2,000 point army sitting on the shelf that I gotta slowly work through. And of course he wanted them, every last one of them elite. So he's gonna get elite. It's gonna take me a minute to do, of course. So I gotta take care of everybody else too. But he's been really lenient with it. He's been an awesome guy. And I found the apothecary's head, so we'll get him tagged up and ready for tomorrow. Will you? So no more putting models together in your car? That was a genius idea, by the way. So if and when I have kids and I have to sit in a car, I'm just gonna start carrying a briefcase around with me for putting people's models together. Some dads like to read the newspaper. Some like to watch the news or you watch TV. I'm gonna be in there clipping plastic, doing my thing. Oh, I bet. I mean, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna go somewhere. You're gonna get up. You're sitting in your car. Yeah? Hey, I mean, come on. To me, that is using time effectively. Clear off my desk here a little bit. Alright. So here's where our Blood Angel commission is so far. Thank God it's just these two guys. I've done a lot of Blood Angels in the last year. All kinds of red. For sure. Oh, Chuck, here in the next day or two, I'll have, a media share up. So that way, if you guys ever want to share pictures with me while I'm streaming, you can do that, and it'll actually put it up on the screen. Which sword? There's a lot of swords. Chain sword? Power sword? That sword? Oh, we're not even done with that sword yet. He wants lightning effects on that, so we'll be taking care of that. I'm hoping probably tomorrow. We're gonna try to finish up both of these guys, if not at least one, and then we'll finish up the other one next day. But yeah, these definitely will be done in the next, probably by the weekend, before our big bad Saturday for sure. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do for you guys for Big Bad Saturday, because I'm trying to get into the habit of either doing some type of giveaway or something like that, just to be, show my gratitude for all you guys, what you do for me. Because, if it wasn't like for you, Chuck and everybody else, I wouldn't be doing this. I want to do Morty so bad, but I gotta get this blood culturing done. I gotta get it out of the door, and you believe me, it's next on the list right after that. It's sitting right in my queue list, staring at me. Like that one's gonna take me some time. I'm gonna take my time with that. Like Dustin is going to love what he's gonna get, because when people give me models like that, I tend to go a little bit above and beyond what they paid me for, just because I'm like, ooh, awesome looking. All right, let's see what we can do. Like my nerd comes out a little bit. Yeah, I'd say so. I gotta keep myself in check though. I don't want to get too crazy. Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to that Morty for a couple reasons. One is, he's epic. So much design on him, so many details and everything like that, and I'm a little intimidated by it as well. But that's also what excites me, because that means it's going to push me to even be better and go to that next level with him. Because when I get like nothing but like your typical Space Marines or infantry and stuff like that, yeah, I want to make them look awesome and stuff like that. But it's not like Mortarion, who's got these big insect-looking wings and this scythe and all of this nitty-gritty everywhere. It's like there's just so much to play with and look at and just think about, and it's going to be a good time. Oh. Hey, Captain. How you doing, man? We're just actually kind of somewhat wrapping up here for the night. Just doing a little bit of show and tell here. Here's a mermaid I did a while back with, just basic inks. It was my first time playing with these types of inks. So about 90% of this is just pure airbrush. So I'm going to have to go back in there. There's a bunch of details I want to tell. This is an old style pewter model, so some of the details kind of chunky here and there. But yeah, just to catch you up here, we got that. This is where we left off on our project for the night so far, is our Sanguini Priest. Oh, I see a little orange spot right here I'm going to have to fix. It's going to bug me. And then, as I was telling the other guys here, we got good old Mephiston. He about wrapped up. We're just going to finish up his sword. I'm going to finish up the basing here quick, too. Blending in your whole day? You talk about blending paints? Is that what you're saying? So here, what else? I got a few other models that we're working on, but they're not ready for, we'll call it show and tell. I get these back up here on my shelf so that way I don't drop something on them and break them. I've actually done that once. I was horrified. So I was just finishing up this nice piece for a client, and then something fell over my desk and just completely obliterated them. It's like, well, that's not going to work. All right, well, time to go to the hobby store, buy a new one, start from scratch. I'm not going to send out a broken model. Hey, gents. No, I'm just basically talking with you guys. Just wrapping up the night. There's not really too much I'm gonna get into for 5 minutes of time without it taking me longer than that. Oh, it did. Like I felt horrible because I was sitting here. I already told the client, it's like, okay, it's done. I sent the pictures. They thought it was awesome, ready to send it out. They were expecting it, and then disaster struck. I was like, oh, great. I mean, it reminds me of some like reality TV stuff that you see. And of course, I got to get on the phone with them, give them the bad news. Tell them I got another one coming. We're gonna get you taken care of. Don't worry about it. I mean, he was cool about it. It turned out to be really good, but it really sucked. Yeah. Let me go see if he's still on my shelf. This guy right here. Yep, still got one. Brand new in the wrapping. So I got him in a trade, if I remember right, earlier last year. Because that is what? That is the Iron Hands Chapter Master, if I remember correctly. My lore is a little weak when it comes to the Iron Hands. I know the basics, of course, but that's about it. Oh, do they? Well, I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's actually a little odd for Space Marines, honestly, but I mean, that works. I mean, it is an empire after all, but I mean, I know the Iron Hands are actually pretty. They're one of the better chapters that are better with the public, if I remember correctly. If you really want to get into it, I mean, they're all technically kind of weird. I mean, the only ones that aren't, we'll say, weird would be like what your Smurfs, your Ultramarines, good old poster boys of the Imperium. I mean, it's either that or they got some, cliche thing about them or some secret or. I mean, the only other one I could think of possibly would be the Imperial Fist. Are pretty. I won't say vanilla, but they're pretty vanilla. I mean, you got your White Scars. I mean, basically modeled after the Huns or whatever, with Genghis Khan and everything like that, and which is really cool. Don't get me wrong, but I mean that's not like your traditional army or your Dark Angels and their secrets because they almost fell to heresy, and now they're gonna come after me and kill me. Um, Ultramarines basically built off the Roman Empire, of course. Your Wolfies, basically your Vikings. Salamanders. Salamanders are an interesting chapter. I mean, they're like basically Forge Masters. They almost remind me of dwarves, honestly. Like lore wise, I mean, like not actual dwarves or nothing like that, but some of it, I feel like it was derived from that same type of lore in a sense. I mean, foraging and stuff like that, and mountains, volcanoes. Yeah, I'm screwed, Chuck. But then again, who do you think keeps me locked down here and feeds me sandwiches? Not good sandwiches either. Like I ask for a PB and J, and all I get is peanut butter. Sometimes bread. Oh, I'm ridiculous, I know. Alright, gents. I'm going to wrap up for the night. I will be back tomorrow, 7:30 Central, of course. We're going to finish up these 2 Blood Angels and see if we can get them done, so that way we can move on to something else. Maybe put the red down here for a little bit. Maybe, what did I say, that ogre possibly? Maybe an ogre? Possibly an ogre? I'm thinking an ogre. And then I do have a box of random elites that came in. Probably coming up here in the next week or so, of all kinds of things, you know, from tech priests to Death Guard captains. I mean, it's kind of good mix. It's got Necrons in it, so a little bit of Eldar. So it'll be a nice, you know, break from doing one chapter, you know, 20 people. It'll just be like one after another, just completely random. Night, guys. Take it easy. I'll see you tomorrow.